So I was asked if I would share my thoughts, reviews on these two things from Simply Charlotte Mason, what my thoughts were, and so on and so forth. Basically, my review. And I started out with just going to get this, but in the end, I ended up getting both of these. Now, these are the habit training series for the younger years, and actually I would just say for all across the board, because I could totally apply these to my own life. I'm going to start off with these. This is the workshop DVD and the handbook, and then there's a printout that can go along with this that is available online, if all that makes sense. Okay. So first impressions, I had a hard time getting the DVD to start because I don't have a DVD player. I only have my laptop, and my laptop is fidgety about DVDs. So that being said, I had to restart it several times. It wasn't anything to do with the company, and the reason I'm mentioning it is because it kind of broke up my initial impressions at first, because it wasn't a consistent sit down and watch the DVD straight through. So if you can't just sit down and watch the DVD straight through, I'm not sure this is something you should get right now. Little over an hour, and it's a lecture that Sonia Schaefer gave, and so you're seeing her talk and kind of interact with the audience, and it's a very good lecture. One of the things that annoys me about my videos when I'm editing is how much I talk with my hands. It's very annoying to me. I'm constantly telling myself, would you just stop moving your hands? Well, Sonia Schaefer talks a lot with her hands as well. So if that bothers you about me, then this is probably going to bother you as well. But I really, the more I got into the DVD, the more I was really inspired by the DVD, by the workshop. Do you need this DVD to do the habit training? No. The DVD basically just talks about why we're going to do habits, what the philosophy is of, what Charlotte Mason's philosophy is of habits, and how that can work out throughout a child's life, how these habits are going to work. And she addresses a couple different habits. And then the handbook, all this is really is just a list of organized quotes by Charlotte Mason. Yeah, I think most of this is just, wanted to make sure that I remembered correctly. A lot of this is just quotes from Charlotte Mason's work on the different habits. And you can get samples of this online. Okay, so then we're going to go through the different habits. And then at the beginning, we have about habits. And so we have little bullet points, and then quotes from her books pertaining to this bullet point. Okay, and then laying down the rails, how to cultivate good habits, and then we've got bullet point, what she says. Bullet point, what she says. And so kind of like a devotional would be, where you've got what we need to be doing as Christians, and then what God says about it. It's kind of laid out in a similar fashion, I would think. Okay, and then we're actually going to, in this chapter you will find Charlotte's comments on these, plus several more habits that Charlotte mentioned but didn't elaborate on, and then we've got those. And so then you're just going to questions to ask about cleanliness, more quotes, and I hope this helps. Okay, I don't want to spend too long sharing that because, again, this is copyrighted material. Okay, and again, a lot of this is just quotes on that, and then we've got sometimes we'll have little pieces here that aren't necessarily a Charlotte Mason quote. So this would be Sonia Schaefer presenting this. And then we've got, whoa! And then we've got more quotes on attention. So we've got Isaac Newton, Proverbs, and Ralph Waldo Emerson. So again, this is just, it is what it says it is. It's a handbook. Okay, so both of these going together, are they necessary in order to teach habits? Would this be my first thing I choose? No. If you have to choose between one or the other, I would actually go for this, and we'll do this review in just a second. However, I am glad that I have this. It is a great reference book, which she very much stresses in here, that these are reference books. These are not kind of like a workbook type of thing. It's a reference book. So both of these are references on your moral habits. These are habit training companions. So what is in here? We have a how to use this, and then we have our workbook. So then we're going to read okay, so here is the habit of cleanliness. So we have here, we have the parent prep. Okay, so you're going to read detailed thoughts on cleanliness from pages 28 and 29 of this book. Again, here's that reference book again. So then we're going to go over here to pages 28 and 29. So now you kind of see how these start working together. So we've got our scenario, and then quotes from Charlotte Mason. Okay, questions and more quotes. So then we're starting to use, again, this reference book with this, okay? So then, but, I don't think it's necessary. Is this very helpful? Absolutely. Is it necessary? I think you can get by with this without it. So if cost is a thing for you, then this is why I'm mentioning it. Okay, so then you've got goals for this habit and steps to get there. A person or story from my life that demonstrates this habit. Additional stories, poems, verses, etc. that I want to use. Other activities we could do in this habit. And then celebration ideas. And then you have your lesson. Lesson 1, read the definition and discuss. Again, you don't need this. This just has everything handy that you don't necessarily have to go and search all these things out for. Okay? And then you're going to read. And then lesson 2, you're going to talk over the point, and then you're going to read Dust Under the Rug, which is this story right here. Okay, and then lesson 3, then you've got a poem. Lesson 4, read and discuss point 3, reminiscing about times when children have fun with a messy activity, then read and discuss the quotation by Francis Bacon, which is right here. Then you've got lesson 5, lesson 6, lesson 7, another story. Okay, let's see how many lessons are in one. It looks like 12 lessons, which, if I remember correctly, should cover 6 weeks. So it'd be about 2 lessons a week. And this, again, I'm trying to do this from memory. Let me see if I can find my notes. Habits should take about 2 months. 6 habits in 1 year. That's a rough goal. So you've got 12 lessons to cover in the span of 2 months. Okay, so now that kind of shows you how these will work together. Again, I think you can just use this. Your additional resources aren't going to be there. But I do think you can get through without having to do this. This is just, again, a handbook and very, very handy. It would be like, okay, going outside of a Charlotte Mason method, this would be like your textbook, and these would be like your workbooks. So if you want to look at it like that, okay? So, all in all, I am very glad to have them. Again, you don't have to have these kind of things in order to do your habit training. I tried to do that without the trying to do something that's completely laid out for me. I tried to do without that for the first two children. And what I am finding is that I'm having to come up with so much stuff for our homeschool that in the end, it's worth it to me to invest in this for my other children, because it's one less thing that I have to do and come up with. I don't have time to come up with a Word document of things that I'm going to do and how I'm going to do this. Even just working in a day-to-day environment of that one habit. Again, Jesus taught in Scripture through parables, through stories. And I do think that is one way to connect to our children, and trying to come up with that kind of atmosphere is not easy when you've got so much in your day-to-day life, and somebody has taken all that time to lay these out for it. I want to say that everything together was about $75. This was the most expensive thing that I have done for our school this year. I tend to usually purchase one very expensive thing just to start adding to the shelves, and then of course all the little prices here and there, and this was definitely the big purchase of this year. And I am finding that this is going to be good for me. This was very helpful for my husband, which was the final deal in deciding to do this. Is my husband was actually spending a lot of time researching how to teach habits, and I thought that was so sweet. And that's actually why I ended up choosing to get this, so that he had the resources also at his fingertips, so that he could feel a part of our school. And like I said, I think this is something that I think is going to be very helpful just in my own habits. I definitely can use a lot of work in my own habits. And this isn't going to just be for the younger three. The older two will be able to use it as well. And so if you think about it in that aspect, this is definitely worth the cost for all of my children. And even if you just spend $75, this is going to take you through more than 1 year. This isn't just a complete, there is more than 6 habits here. And if you're focusing on 6 habits in 1 year, and there's, I think they said 60 something habits, this is a 10-year program. So what is that, $7 a year for one child? And when you divide that up into more children, again, your cost definitely works out well. And just because it may be a good deal doesn't necessarily mean you have the cash. So what I would suggest is, if you don't have the money now, maybe try just putting $7. It's not even $10. Just try to put $7 aside every month until you can afford to get this, and then put the money out to purchase it. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If there is any questions, please let me know down in the comments below. I will try to address it as quickly as possible. I hope this layout and review kind of gave you an idea of what this is and how it works, and what my thoughts were on it. And there are samples online. Simply Charlotte Mason is really good about giving samples so that you can see. And this is part of that printout that they show you how to get on that. So then there's additional resources with this. Anyway, again, just give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Comment down below with any questions or any advice, suggestions, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.